Hello, Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and welcome to January. I'm sorry I have to speak a little low for this recording because everyone in my house is sleeping and my dog is snoring near me, so if you hear that, I'm very sorry. On January 11th, the nodes of fate will shift from your first house, Sun, Moon, or Rising, to the Pisces Virgo axis, your 12th house of rest and seclusion, and the 6th house of health and work, in which the energy for that shift started to occur actually with the lunar eclipse that happened in September. I had drawn a tarot card for that eclipse for all signs and described it in detail. I will link that video for you in the description box down below. For the past 1.5 years, the nodes were in your sign and in Libra, your 7th house of close relationships. It's a big year for you, Aries, as we will also have Saturn and Neptune move from Pisces in your sign as well. When will this happen? I will list all of the important dates in the description box down below. You will also have one more solar eclipse in your sign on March 29th at 8 degrees, affecting Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising most from 4 to 14 degrees. Again, I'll list this in the description box below, so don't worry too much about trying to remember this. Or if you have Libra placements, which would be in your 7th house, Cancer or Capricorn at those degrees. Since July 2023, the focus was on you, your self-identity, your physical body, your health, what you do for a living, your closest personal relationships, where you live. You most definitely now have a new identity or title. Maybe you moved, maybe you started like a muscle building program or a weight loss program. You could have made changes to your face, your hair. You could have changed your title from single to married or married to single. If you didn't marry, maybe you entered into an important fated new relationship. Yet this would have been a person that came in through that South Node Avenue, sitting in that 7th house. They would have been from a past life. Or maybe you've just been doing you and focused on yourself, as the North Node in your sign would have had you very self-involved for the past 1.5 years, but not in a bad way. Probably in a very necessary way, because after all, the North Node and the South Node are called the nodes of fate. If you didn't have any of the above changes occur or meet someone significant yet, you still have that solar eclipse on March 29th that will energetically reverberate out over the next 6 months, giving until about October 6th to make the changes you maybe feel you might have missed out on, or that you still need to make, or to set your biggest dreams in motion that haven't happened for you already. So there's still time, Aries. A solar eclipse is all about new beginnings, and the one in March is definitely one to look forward to, as you can meet your soulmate. You can let go of old and outdated relationships that may have undermined you. You could also reach an important milestone in your career and reputation. With the North Node having sat in your first house for so long, you probably have been working like crazy. You've been changing, you've been studying, like if you're at uni, so much so now that you're realizing the need for rest and recuperation, or maybe you're even being forced into it, which probably started to show signs of wear and tear at the end of September with that lunar eclipse in Pisces that happened in your 12th house of rest and seclusion. So hopefully you didn't work yourself sick, as the 12th house represents hospital stays, as well as foreign shores. So maybe that eclipse kicked off a travel opportunity that will involve a wonderful and healing time of rest, somewhere by a body of water, most likely, as this is Pisces domain. Again, click that link down below to hear what the eclipse holds for your sign, because it's still in effect as I give you this forecast. With this now focus on your 12th house, you could be setting up a home office for work, and it will likely be a sacred space, as the 6th Virgo house of work is the opposite end of the spectrum from the North Node entering Pisces in that 12th. You could also be setting up a home gym or a dedicated space for meditation, or like a book nook to relax into, where you read and relax, or maybe you're working on a book or a fantasy project. Not to worry, but if you did have a health issue come to light over the upcoming 1.5 years, it might have been exposed actually at the September lunar eclipse. You will find the help that you need, and with Saturn moving into your sign on May 24th, Saturn will stay there until July 28th, but will retrograde back into Pisces for just a little while. Can often show issues related to skin, issues with like dehydration, drying your bones, dental work, You could start to see that first gray hair when Saturn enters your first house. You could have issues with your knees. Saturn rules Capricorn, and the knees are part of the body that is ruled by Capricorn. But also what can happen is Saturn can crystallize whatever is hidden. So if there is a health issue, Saturn can make it visible, as you will, have Neptune, the planet of the invisible, in your first house. Again, I'll list the dates for these planetary movements in the description box down below. You could be more involved in charitable endeavors over the next 1.5 years or so, or even longer, as the 12th house represents charity and empathy. And since the ruler of the 12th house is Neptune, we'll be moving into your first house for an extended stay. And that starts on March 30th, the day after the last solar eclipse in your sign. You can find yourself cracked open, so to speak, in relationship to deeply feeling empathy for disadvantaged people. Not that you haven't before, but again, the focus was very much like on you, yourself, where you're going in life for the past 1.5 years. And now it's shifting to this 12th house, 6th house. You could maybe be feeling more empathy for, children in war zones, for example, or very likely you may even set up like a foundation or become a leader in these areas, since not only are you a cardinal sign Aries, meaning that you're a sign of leadership quite naturally, but you'll have extra weight in that area as Saturn rules another cardinal sign, which is Capricorn, and Saturn will be sitting in your first house, making you a sovereign. The sovereign is Saturn. It's like the big dad, big father energy. Even if you are female in orientation or choosing, this energy is big time like masculine and very mature and very much in charge. You will not to be messed with, Aries, as you typically aren't. And you definitely don't take no shit. But you especially don't mess with Saturn-ruled people. An interesting side note with Saturn being in the first house is not only it makes you an authority, but it is vital to impose your power, and you will have it in spades, in a proper and morally correct way. Saturn is extremely moral. If not, Saturn does punish. I hate to put it that way, but I've seen this play out. Use your Saturn power correctly and for the good and for the collective, or karma comes quickly when we have Saturn in the first. Alternatively, I have noticed that when people do harm to a Saturn-strong individual, like Saturn in the first, Aquarius risings, Capricorn risings, or people who natally have Saturn in the first, karma also seems to serve much quicker than expected to the people who harm you or try to harm you. I've seen that play out as well as many times. Just a little side note there, so quick detour. Okay, now with the North Node in the 12th, you may move to a distant place or travel there. It may feel familiar, and you may have lived there possibly in a past life. Is the 12th house, it's a birthing house. It's the house of past lives before everything shifts into the first house, and it's literally like coming out of the womb, so to speak. But the North Node of Fate is here, and it's where you're heading. So maybe a travel opportunity comes up and you end up loving it so much that you purchase land or property in said place. You could also purchase a rental property on foreign shores. It's the 6th house, which is where the South Node will be in Virgo, covers like rental income, rental property. And the 12th house also covers foreign money and distant lands. The North Node being in the 12th can generate income related to foreign land or with foreign-related business associates. Alternatively, you could set up a spa at home or invest in like a pool for health, start swimming for health, as the South Node will be in the 6th Virgo house, and your health and well-being will be very important to take care of over the next 2 years, since the final eclipse on this health axis will occur in that 6th Virgo house, finishing up not until February 20th, 2027. There's been a lot of talk in the astrology world about disease and health with the Pisces and Virgo nodes and the eclipses being activated and taking place. And that energy will be prominent all the way until 2027. Again, with Saturn moving into your sign and this health disease energy being in high focus, it's a very important time for you, Aries, to get your diet right, your exercise regime right, protect your body. Keep it hydrated, as Saturn dehydrates and slows things down, like your immune system. And a dry body is more prone to infection and colds. Look into finding a good health practitioner or an herbalist, as the South Node in the 6th can help you find like a fated past life healthcare professional who will be very integral into keeping you healthy and well over the next 2 years. You may need to build up your bones by lifting weights with Saturn in the 1st. Saturn affects bones, and this 12th house axis is so prominent starting now, possibly having kicked off, like I mentioned, in September with that Pisces lunar eclipse, again, all the way until 2027. You could be less focused on the day-to-day life and more involved in a spiritual practice, astrology, or meditation with the North Node going into Pisces in your 12th house of rest and seclusion. You may even turn this into a way to generate money and be letting go of old ways of making your income, or letting go of a job that no longer resonates with you, with the South Node moving into that 6th house, and the ruler of the 12th, which is Neptune, going into your 1st house of self. This theme of spirituality can become very prominent for you with the last solar eclipse occurring on March 29th, and then Neptune moving into your 1st house the very next day. You can become like a TV or movie star, YouTube star, Instagram, etc., as Neptune rules film and especially visual arts. Maybe you're creating a film or a movie, and it could bring awareness to the world about injustice or hidden issues around foreign matters or injustice to vulnerable people. Or if there was like some other goal or always just a dream in general that you wanted to achieve in a different area, you can now start to make this real with Saturn also moving into your sign and forming a conjunction with Neptune. This will be a very big thing, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction. The dream becomes a reality, but with work with Saturn here. He will never deliver the gifts unless you're willing to put in the hard yards, but you will have the energy to do it. This will be helping Aries to become leaders for the environment, especially the oceans or large animals, becoming prominent leaders in society for marginalized people, etc. This is very prominent, as not only will Neptune and Saturn conjunct, and that will happen, I think, February 20th, 2026, but the North Node in Pisces will conjunct Saturn on April 18th through the 22nd, exact at 26 degrees, but this energy can start to be felt from the end of March to May 24th, 2025. So take out your pen and paper, sit in your dedicated sacred space that I know you've been thinking of creating, and start writing the dreams that you wish to bring to fruition. And come up with a plan now, Aries, as this is the time to bring your largest dreams into reality, especially around the days of the conjunction of the North Node meeting Saturn. When does this happen? Again, this starts at the end of March, exact April 18th through the 22nd, and is felt until the end of this May. This is starting to pave the way and open that door for the second chance to make your dreams come true, when Saturn will conjunct Neptune by February 20th, 2026 again. So get ready, Aries. You've got big transits coming up this year. You're going to be in high focus. Even though the North Node has left your 1st house, there's still going to be a tremendous focus on you with Saturn and Neptune moving into your 1st. Words become spells, become a reality. We'll see you in February, Aries.